Trump has a wild first week back in office. His Instagram suppressing Democrats. And Trump reverses Biden's irreversible policies irreversibly, until they're reversed again. Then more on this week's America Uncovered headlines. Welcome to America Uncovered. I'm Chris Chappell. Sorry, I'm just a little bit tired. There's been so much news. You know that expression, there are decades where nothing happens and there are weeks where decades happen? Well, this was a week where decades happened hourly. It's been a historic week, and of course, nothing has been more newsworthy or had a bigger impact on the daily lives of the average American than the Costco strike. 18,000 Costco Teamsters are prepared to go on strike if a fair contract offer isn't presented by January 31st. Like most Costco shoppers, they're hoping to get a good deal. With this being Costco, I assume the offer will be put in a cardboard box instead of a shopping bag, and they'll have to get their receipt highlighted on the way out. Oh, and also Donald Trump was sworn in as the 47th president and signed a bunch of executive orders covering policies ranging from gender to immigration, with First Lady Melania leaning over him looking like a negative photo of Michael Jackson in the Smooth Criminal video. And Joe Biden issued several preemptive pardons in his literal last minutes as president to his family, Dr. Fauci, and the January 6th panel. I covered that about 4 decades ago, which is to say earlier this week. Link is below. Not to be outdone, Trump pardoned over 1,500 criminal defendants charged in the January 6th riot, as well as Ross Ulbricht, the founder of Silk Road, who's been incarcerated since 2013. Man, people are getting presidential pardons in bulk these days, which is sad. And not because it's becoming the norm to issue sweeping pardons and even preemptive pardons to your allies and supporters, creating further partisanship in an already politically fractured system. No, it's sad because it reminds me of all the bulk items I'll have a harder time getting if Costco goes on strike. Hopefully the Teamsters receive a fair offer. Otherwise, I'll have to scoop my peanut butter with a spoon instead of a ladle, like an animal. But jokes aside, being the president is serious business. And nothing says serious business more than a meme crypto coin. Last Friday, Trump released a new meme coin. By his inauguration on Monday, it had reached over $10 billion in market value. And while this might be just a coincidence, the timing is interesting. The CEO of Bank of America says the U.S. banking industry will embrace cryptocurrency payments if regulators allow it. This must have excited Elon Musk, I guess he doesn't really have an official cabinet position, the first BFF. Since he wants to go to Mars, and on his first day in office, Trump and his coin already went straight to the moon. Official Trump coin was a much better investment than the Hawk-Twa Girls meme coin. And yes, we're living in an era where we're comparing the performance of the meme coin put out by the President of the United States to the performance of a meme coin put out by a girl famous for spitting on that thing. I'd say I'm embarrassed for future generations to read about us, but given the fact that we're living in the dumbest possible timeline, I'm not so sure future generations will be able to read. But it's possible future generations will still be able to watch a video talking about us on TikTok, since the app restored service in the US after briefly going dark. Man, that was a scary 12 hours for people who can't go 5 minutes without seeing a new crock-pot recipe that involves an entire block of cream cheese. Trump signed an executive action delaying the TikTok ban for 75 days.
Did you sign the TikTok order?
Yeah.
Yes, that was just signed. Marco Rubio said yes.
Just signed.
So for those keeping score, Trump was the one who initially called for a TikTok ban during his first term, and now in his second term, he's signing executive orders trying to save it, which proves that you're never too old to change your opinion to an even worse one. But hey, he has a successful meme coin, so he's got that going for him. And so does his wife, First Lady Melania Trump, whose coin earned over $2 billion on Inauguration Day. And as her coin entered the market, Trump's coin dropped in value by 50% until it started making a comeback, because even Trump's meme coin is chaotic. Which is another lesson, that crypto is volatile, and you never know when something might crash or even make a comeback. Meaning, there's hope that the Hawk-Twa Girls meme coin is going to come roaring back any day now. Hold the line, we're going to the moon. Financial advice offered on the show is solely a joke and not to be taken seriously, especially over crypto, which Chris barely understands, as it's a young man's game and his knees hurt when it gets cold outside. Speaking of memes, Doge. Specifically, the Department of Government Efficiency. Vivek Ramaswamy has resigned as co-head of Doge. Man, Trump has been president for a couple of minutes, and already the shakeups in his administration have begun. Ramaswamy lasted only 6 1/4 Scaramucci's. Remember him, Trump's former director of communications who looked like the guy the Punisher dangled over a rooftop by his ankles? According to Politico, Elon Musk wanted Ramaswamy out as he wasn't very well liked by many in Trump's circle. So for anyone who's worried Trump is a secret supervillain plotting to install a fascist regime in the US, you can relax. Because while Democrats clearly haven't been able to stop him, infighting in Trump's administration will probably stop a lot from getting done. Ramaswamy is expected to launch an Ohio gubernatorial campaign next week, though I'm not sure how successful he'll be as he's burned a lot of his goodwill defending H-1B visas, saying that American culture celebrates mediocrity. Which isn't even true, because if Americans truly did celebrate mediocrity, then the last several Marvel and Star Wars projects wouldn't have tanked as hard as they did. Get it together, Disney. Speaking of Doge, the department received its first lawsuit just moments after Trump took office. The case, brought forth by the National Security Counselors, is based around 1972's Federal Advisory Committee Act. It calls Doge a Federal Advisory Committee and says it therefore must maintain a fairly balanced membership, have public meetings, and file a charter. I'm sure Doge head Elon Musk will have a calm, well-reasoned response to this and the other lawsuits that the department will face. After all, he has a history of calm, well-reasoned responses to criticism.
Go f*** yourself. But go f*** yourself. Is that clear?
Brevity is the soul of wit. And I'm sure Musk appreciates they did their homework and were so punctual with filing this lawsuit. I bet he salutes them. No, not like that, Elon. Then after the break, is Instagram suppressing Democrats? Welcome back. Users are accusing Meta of political bias over hiding search results for the terms Democrat and Democrats. When those terms were searched, this message popped up, reading, "We've hidden the results. Results for the term you searched for may contain sensitive content." Jeez. I know Democrats are sensitive, but I don't think you need to hide them. If they need to, they can go hide in their own safe spaces. Meta claims this was a technical error they were able to resolve, and the error also affected search results for some Republican hashtags. However, like Melania's kiss-blocking hat, it wasn't the best look. Especially since Mark Zuckerberg attended the inauguration and removed fact-checkers from Meta in favor of community notes right as Trump was coming into office, seemingly to appease him. After all, he admitted the Biden administration pressured Facebook to censor some COVID-19 content during the pandemic, and he went along with it. So this may have actually been an error and not suppression or bias. But it's not very flattering that Zuckerberg comes across like someone who will grab at any life raft offered to him at the first sign of trouble to avoid sinking. Though, based on where his eyes wandered during the inauguration, he may have been thinking of other items that float. As it does every year, the World Economic Forum seminar took place in Davos, Switzerland. One of the themes of this year's conference is safeguarding the planet. And world leaders vowed to stay the course on climate action after Trump pulled the U.S. out of the Paris Climate Agreement. Again, Trump didn't fly to Switzerland, but instead addressed the forum via a live video feed, which, to be fair, was the most green move he could make. Speaking of green, Trump spent a lot of time talking about money, accusing Bank of America's CEO of debanking conservatives and told businesses that if they made their products in America, they would receive tax cuts, and if they made them abroad, they'd receive tariffs. But it might not be the climate or even the economy we need to worry about. It's robots! Because Trump and 3 top tech firms announced the creation of Stargate, a $500 billion investment into AI infrastructure in the U.S. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, SoftBank CEO Masayoshi Son, and Oracle Chairman Larry Ellison explained their companies would each contribute $100 billion to start up the project and pour up to $500 billion into it total, creating up to 100,000 jobs. And Ellison explained how AI could be used in individual mRNA vaccines to help fight cancer.
So imagine early cancer detection, the development of a cancer vaccine for your particular cancer aimed at you, and have that vaccine available in 48 hours. This is the promise of AI.
I know the mention of an mRNA vaccine has many worried, but this is very exciting if true. Just imagine a future where cancer could be detected before developing into a tumor and eradicated. Then we could live much longer, healthier lives in squalor and obsolescence as AI has taken all of our jobs. The future's looking bright. If you saw our episode about Trump's executive orders, which also came out several decades ago earlier this week, you know Trump has been making a lot of changes around the White House. He's fired thousands of staff members not aligned with his agenda and ordered remote work to end for federal employees. Hopefully those workers will wash their pants before putting them back on again for the first time in 5 years. Trump's also been making a lot of changes around the U.S. As mentioned, Trump pulled America out of the Paris Climate Agreement again, and also withdrew from the World Health Organization again. The WHO released a statement saying they regretted this decision and looked forward to continuing dialogue with the U.S. in the future to help benefit the interests of human health and especially the Chinese Communist Party, who they covered for during the COVID pandemic. And by the way, Taiwan isn't a real country. They didn't say that last part, but it was there in the subtext. For those of you who don't remember Trump's first term, this week was a crash course reminder of what it was like. We're going to be inundated with stories of how much irreversible harm he's doing, even though much of the so-called harm he did during his first term was immediately reversed as soon as Biden got into office, except of course for the things that Biden continued or even expanded upon. Remember when kids in cages magically turned into migrant facilities? And there will be tons of lawsuits. One thing no one can deny is Trump is definitely helping lawyers get richer in his economy. The most annoying thing about American politics is that it takes forever to make lasting changes. The most beautiful thing about American politics is that it takes forever to make lasting changes. So if you're unhappy with the current administration and what it's doing, just wait a little while longer. And if you're ecstatic with what the current administration is doing, don't get cocky for a little while. This country will be fine. Given how the media operate, it's going to be a wild ride, as they're selling sensationalism in bulk, like they got it from Costco. And in my ongoing attempt to talk about things YouTube considers too controversial by hiding them in gaming content, while modern audiences crave girl bosses, sometimes a boy just needs to save a damsel in distress. Check out this episode about one of my favorite games, Eco, and what it says about the hero's journey. Click here and let me know what you think. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thank you for watching America Uncovered.